For the benefits of those who do not understand my native language, our khutbah for today is Al-Qadar, that is divine decree, or what some people call destiny, or what people call predestination. My brothers and sisters in Deen, we give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful. Blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his noble family and his companions. Today we delve into a profound topic that has perplexed philosophers, theologians for centuries. Qadr, or divine destiny, or divine decree. The concept is a cornerstone of Islamic belief and understanding. It is essential for our spiritual growth and peace of mind. The concept of Qadr, divine decree in Islam. Allah the Almighty is the creator of everything. He has knowledge of all things, past and present, and future. His knowledge is infinite and encompasses every detail of our lives. This divine knowledge is the basis of Qadr. The Quran speaks about Qadr in numerous verses. One of such verses is in Surah Al-Qamar, chapter 54, verse 49. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna kulla shay'in khalaqnahu biqadar. In this noble verse of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna kulla shay'in khalaqnahu biqadar. He said, certainly, indeed, kulla shay'in. He said, everything, all things, khalaqnahu biqadar. We created with what? With predestination. Has been created on qadar, has been destined. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has destined that we will be on this earth, and that is why we are on earth. And that is why if you go back to when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before he created our father Prophet Adam alayhi salam, he called the angels and he told them, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. Contrary to many beliefs that our father Prophet Adam was sent down to the earth because he ate from the forbidden tree. But that is not actually the main reason. It was only a sabab, more like a reason for something to occur. But the main purpose was for him to be on earth, because that was what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told his angels before he created Prophet Adam alayhi salam. And that is why we as believers, we must understand that Qadr is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not in the hands of anybody. A lot of people today have lost their belief due to this very complex topic, Qadr. So many people sometimes they doubt themselves because they believe some things are Qadr. But we have to understand, what are those things that are Qadr? We have to know the things that are Qadr, the things that are in our hands and the things that are not in our hands. But we must also reflect on another verse in Surah As-Siraj, chapter 37, verse 96 of the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Wallahu khalaqakum wa ma ta'malun. In this noble verse of the Quran, Allah said, Wallahu khalaqakum wa ma ta'malun. And Allah has created you and what you do. So meaning, some people have misunderstood this verse, that Allah has created us and what we do. So meaning, every action we take, Allah has created us with that action. No. Everyone have a role to play in this dunya, in this life. So it is just like a movie director. He knows where the movie will end. He knows what you are going to, he knows the next scene. He knows what will happen in the next part, on the next series. So for you who is watching the movie for the first time, you will be curious as to what will happen after. But for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is more aware. And just like the way the director already knows the next part of the movie. So this is how it is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is aware of everything that will happen. what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen later. So we must understand that Qadar is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there are certain things that are in our own hands as humans. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the ability to think, the ability to determine what is right and what is wrong. He did not give the animals that ability. And that is why the animals will not face judgment. That is why on the day of resurrection, when Allah brings us for judgment, the animals will not be there with us. They won't be thrown into the hell, or they won't be placed in the Jannah for anything. Once they die, that is the end. So one thing we must understand is that as humans and as believers, while Qadar is in the hands of Allah, there are certain things that is in our own hands. And sometimes when evil happens to people, you hear them say, oh, Allah has destined that it will happen. There are certain things that Allah has destined that will happen that Allah is in total control of. And there are things that Allah has given us the opportunity to decide by ourselves. And that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Yunus, chapter 10, verse 44. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna Allah la yadlimu an-nasa shay'a walakinna an-nasa anfusahum yadlimun. He said, Inna Allah la yadlimu an-nasa shay'a. He said, indeed, Allah does not wrong the people at all. He said, walakinna an-nasa anfusahum yadlimun. But it is the people who wrong themselves. They are the one who are wronging themselves. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear. He doesn't do evil. But when He tells you, do this, and you refuse to do, and then you do the opposite, the result is what you are going to do. Face the consequences. So He is not doing evil. He gave you the opportunity. He gave you the liberty to choose. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in another chapter, in another surah, in another verse of the Quran, in Surah Al-Insan, chapter 76, verse 3. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna hadaynahu as-sabila imma shakiran wa imma kafura. He told us in this verse of the Quran, He said, Inna hadaynahu as-sabila. He said, certainly, we have shown him the way. Allah has shown us the way. Imma shakiran wa imma kafura. Will he be grateful or ungrateful? So Allah has shown us the way, the right way. Allah has given us the opportunity to choose what is right and what is wrong. If you are in search of wealth, Allah has shown you the way, how to acquire wealth. Allah has given us so many things, resources to use to acquire wealth. So it is not for Allah to now decide for you that I want to do this, I want to go into such business so that I can acquire wealth. No. It is your own to decide, but Allah has given you what you need. And that is why He said, Inna hadaynahu sabila imma shakiran wa imma kafura. We have created for him, we are giving him the way, we have shown him the way to decide whether he's going to be grateful or ungrateful. So you should not say, oh, Allah has destined that I'm not going to be wealthy, and that's why I'm not wealthy. No. Have you made efforts? If Allah wanted, or if He wills, He could have made sure that we get whatever our daily sustenance, our daily food or bill would be coming from the heavens. But He gave us the liberty to use whatever we want on the earth to get what we want. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, let us try as much as possible to understand that certain things are in the hands of Allah to determine, but there are certain things that are in our hands. While Allah has knowledge of everything, sometimes when you get used to somebody, you are able to predict some of their characters. When you know somebody to some extent, you'll be able to say, I know him, if he comes in, this is the first thing he will do. Or when you tell him, so this is the first response. So Allah knows us very well. So He knows what we are going to do, whether good or bad. But it doesn't mean He's one directing us to do the evil or to do what is bad. But He knows, because He's one who created us. even though He has given us guidance, even though He has shown us the way. So, my brothers and sisters, indeed, let us try as much as possible to understand that Qadar is in the hands of Allah. But today, we people have forgotten that Allah decides things. Sometimes we use other things to determine our level of success in life. Recently, I came across a video on social media where an individual was trying to, talking about these zodiac signs and so on, and saying, "Oh, you are Leo, you are Scorpio, you are Sagittarius, you are this, you are that. You are not compatible with this, you are not compatible with so person." To the extent, some started having everything about their marriages. That, oh, my partner is this, I am that. That means we are not compatible. To the extent, some that are even expecting to get married are beginning to have a rethink about their decision. And this is what happens when we do not have understanding that things, Qadar, is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you understand that things are in the hands of Allah, you as a husband will not fight your wife that she gave birth to a female child. Because you know that it is not in your hands, it is not in her hands. It is what Allah has created. If you understand what Qadar is, you will not be angry with somebody because you feel he refused to help you, and that is why you have not gotten to where you want to be. So you must understand that Qadar is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you have a role to play. So because Allah has destined that you will be rich, if you do not make efforts to be rich, you might never become rich. Because you have to make effort. So we must understand. So many people today have lost their way, trying to go to meet people to tell them about their destiny, about their future, and so on. Wallahi, nobody has knowledge of the unseen. Nobody knows the future except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why you see so many experts, they predict so many things about the future. They predict so many, and at the end of the day, it doesn't come to pass. What it means is that no one has what? Knowledge of the unseen except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us? The conversation Allah will have with Prophet Isa on the day of judgment, that is Jesus. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that one of the things is when Allah asked him, now, are you the one who asked people to do so thing and so thing? Then he said that what? Then he replied to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he does not have the knowledge of what is in the mind of Allah, but Allah knows what is in him. He said, تَعْلَمُ مَا فِي نَفْسِي وَلَا أَعْلَمُ مَا فِي نَفْسِكَ إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ عَلَّامُ الْغُيُوبِ. You know what is in me, what is in my mind, what is within me, but I do not have knowledge of what is in you. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ عَلَّامُ الْغُيُوبِ. Certainly, you are the one who has the knowledge of the unseen. So you don't need to go and meet somebody to tell you if your future will be bright or not. Sometimes when you get there, you'll be amazed. They will impress you. Oh, telling you, I know why you came here. You came here because of so thing. Because, yes, why won't he know? Because the jinn that is attached to you, that is following you all the time, is giving them the information when you get there. And that is why before you even open your mouth to talk, they already have a knowledge of why you are there. So it is not because they know what is happening or they know what will happen in the future, but it is because someone is giving them the information. But who is giving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala information? Nobody. So that is why no one has the power to change your destiny. Allah alone has the power to change your destiny. So my brothers and sisters, indeed, let us try as much as possible to believe in Allah as expected of us, and to believe that Qadr, destiny, is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We must make sure that we do not become kafir as a result of this issue of Qadar. Because people not understanding the concept of Qadar is the reason why they go to certain places where they are not supposed to go to. It's the reason why they have certain belief that they are not supposed to have. But when you understand that Qadar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of it. But He gave you the ability to do certain things. You are hungry, you want to eat, it is in your hands. If you have the food is available, it is in your hands to prepare what you want to eat. But if you will go out and be able to get food after making efforts, that is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can go out, make efforts, and you might not get what to eat. But if the food is available, what you want to eat, the choice of your food to eat is in your hands. It is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that determines that for you. So that is where you will understand the concept of Qadar. Certain things that are beyond your control, Allah will not ask you about it. But there are certain things that are within your control. Someone asked, if Allah has determined that some people will go to hell, some people will go to Jannah. So why is he now stressing, or why did he create us to make some people go through the stress of, when he knows they are going to the hell? You have to look at have you been in a situation as a teacher? We know the capacity of all your students. Among your students, you know those who will top the class. And among them, you know those who usually come at bottom of the class. But because you know those who will be at the bottom of the class, does that mean you should not conduct tests for them? You conduct tests for all your students. Equal questions. Everything will be equal. You give them the opportunity to prove themselves. Even though you know to some extent that these are the people that will top the class, even from the previous tests and everything, the way they understand the subject and everything. So that is how it is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows those that will make Jannah. He knows those that will not make Jannah. But at the same time, He gave us the liberty to decide for ourselves. And that is why He said, Inna hadaynahu sabila, imma shakiran wa imma kafura. Certainly we have shown man the way. Imma shakiran. Will he be grateful or what? Or will he be ungrateful? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us to be among those who will follow the right way that Allah has shown to them. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the wisdom, the ability to understand the concept of Qadr, and make us not to be those who will lose their belief due to the inability to understand Qadr. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروا الله العظيم الجليل يذكركم واشكروه على آلائه ونعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون قوموا إلى الصلاة يرحمكم الله.